This is Super Yacht News with Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Okay, we've been following a story about a yacht, a 20 meter or 65-foot yacht named Cujo. The vessel sent out a distress call on the 29th of last month saying that they were taking on water. According to the Maritime Gendarmerie, it happened about 35 kilometers off the coast of Beaulieu-sur-Mer. Now, a post from the Gendarmerie said that the distress signal was received on the July 29th at 12:30 p.m. and the vessel had reported taking on water in the engine room with 7 people on board. Now, the search and rescue dispatched their vessel. They also asked another vessel that had responded to the distress call to go to the area. When the search and rescue vessel arrived in the area, they said that they saw a life raft with the 7 people on board and the vessel was already sinking. So they did a quick health check on the people, the castaways they call them, and then they were loaded onto the sailboat, and the sailboat took them to Beaulieu. The cabins of the yacht were already flooded by this time, and only a few suitcases located in the galley and on the deck could be recovered by the gendarmes. So, like I said, the vessel, the sailing boat with all of the people, the castaways on, they were taken ashore, and the search and rescue vessel stayed in the area, and they watched the vessel sink, and it sank in 2,500 meters of water with 7,000 liters of fuel on board. Now, they don't currently know what the cause of the accident was, but based on reporting by Boat International said that they had a source that said something had been floating in the water and they had hit whatever it was and they pierced the hull and they started to take on water. Now, it's a very interesting boat, this boat. It was built in 1972 in Italy, and it was built for someone called John von Neumann. You might know him if you're a senior. He, in the 70s and 80s, he was a former racing driver, and he had a dealership in the US, and he was the first person to bring Porsche and Volkswagen to the United States. Now, the vessel was later on sold to Mohammed Khashoggi, who was an arms dealer, and he was also the cousin of Dodi Al Fayed. Now, eventually, a few years later, Dodi Al Fayed purchased the yacht, and he did a refit on the yacht, and he used it, and he was very fond of this yacht. Now, if you don't recognize that name, he was turned out the last boyfriend of Princess Diana. Now, that they were in the 90s, there were lots of photographs of them on a yacht taken by the paparazzi, and this yacht, most of the time, the pictures were from this yacht that Dodi Al Fayed owned. Now, they were using this yacht just a few days before that fatal accident in the tunnel in France. They'd been on that yacht just a few days before, and it was a military style type yacht, and it had a top speed of 42 knots, so it was a fast vessel. Not sure how fast they were traveling when they hit whatever it was that was floating in the water, but yeah. So yeah. Anyway, everyone was recovered. There were no injuries apparently, and yeah, an investigation will no doubt be underway. All right, so we'll move on to our next story now. The owners of the charter yacht Nakoa, which ran aground in Maui in Hawaii earlier this year, have been fined by the BLNR. The Hawaiian Board of Land and Natural Resources have given a fine to the trust of the yacht, the trust that owned the yacht, which sank in February after what can only be described as a botched recovery attempt by the authorities in Hawaii. The fines amount to $117,474. Now, the yacht broke free of a floating mooring buoy in a protected area of Maui with the operator of the charter company on board. The 28-meter yacht ran onto the rocks and was there for about 2 months until the DLNR attempted a recovery. The vessel was moored to this floating mooring buoy, as I mentioned, but it was only designed for yachts to be moored to for up to 2 hours, but they were there overnight. During the recovery attempt, the vessel all of the fluids were removed, and anything that was dangerous was removed, which seems to suggest they were expecting the vessel to sink. And when they pulled the vessel off the rocks, the vessel very quickly sank as it was pulled out into deep water. However, this is not the end of the case, as the operator, Jim Jones, who ran the charter company, Noalani Yachts, has yet to be fined. Now, he was purchasing the vessel over a 15-year period from the trust for a price of $1.4 million. And he's currently being sued by that trust for $2.5 million for the cost of the boat, plus the salvage work, and $500,000 for environmental costs. Now, the DLNR said that their so-called recovery work was covered by the boat's insurance, so they've received the money from them. But anyway, that case is ongoing anyway in terms of the fines and the lawsuits, and that will probably take a few years to resolve, but we will keep you updated when we get any further updates. All right, so we've got a strange one next. We've got a motor yacht Eclipse, as you all know, is owned by Roman Abramovich. Now, this is a 156 meter yacht. It's a massive yacht. Now, it's either had some very serious upgrades, or there's something strange going on. There's a data anomaly going on based on the movements of this yacht. Now, the data shows the yacht apparently making an almost 500 nautical mile trip in less than 4 hours over land, which of course is impossible, like I said, unless they've got some serious upgrades. So as we said, the yacht appeared to leave her base in Marmaris, where she's been for more or less the last year, and head to Istanbul in Turkey in the straight line in a time frame of around 4 hours, which is of course impossible, both the straight line and the time frame. Now, if we show you on the map here, you can see the line going straight across. And the reason why there's just a straight line is because the AIS data is missing in between. So initially the vessel shows in Marmaris, and then 4 hours later, the AIS data shows the vessel in Istanbul, and then it goes back to Marmaris in the same sort of 4 hour period, which is obviously impossible. Now, after we looked at this, we couldn't make head or tail of it, so we reported it to marine traffic to see if there's a data issue, which is the most likely scenario here. There's some sort of data anomaly. Now, if you look at the distance, the actual by sea, it's and assuming the vessel can travel at 20 knots, which is close to a top speed, and do that all the way there, it would take approximately 22 hours to make that journey, and yet they apparently did it in 4 hours. So the most likely scenario here is that there's some sort of issue, but it could also be that there's some manipulation of AIS data. Like I said, we did report it to marine traffic and asked them to look into it, and they've said that they've escalated it to their engineers. Now, we've not seen anything like this in a few years of covering movements of yachts, so we suspect it's probably a data anomaly rather than something that's happening with the vessel, but you never know, right? Anyway, stay tuned and we'll let you know when we get replies back from marine traffic. All right, so I'm going to leave you with this yacht spot. This is motor yacht Norn, which visited London recently. This is the replacement yacht for Charles Simonyi. In the last video, we talked about motor yacht Scat. And this is the vessel that Charles Simonyi had built by Lursen, and that was his replacement for Scat, which he then sold. Now, the yacht is a 90 meter or 295 foot yacht built by Lursen, as I said, and delivered this year, 3,600 gross tons, and it can carry 16 guests in 8 cabins and has a crew of 20. The estimated build cost of this yacht is $250 million. Now, based on that estimated cost, that would mean that it would cost around $20 to $25 million a year to look after, to pay for. And the photos were sent in by a subscriber named GMac. All right, guys, if you haven't seen our latest video, which came out last week, please click on the link up here. It's one of our best videos to date. And if you sign up to patreon.com/eSysman, you'll find 2 extra videos, behind the scenes videos, not published on YouTube, from that recent visit to Cala del Forte in Italy, as well as the patron chat series, the Atlantic vlog series, and the patron only Q&A series. And you'll get early access to features advert free. And also, don't forget to check out our SuperYacht news channel. It's all the goodness of this channel cut down into bite-sized chunks. So if you're in a hurry, you can watch individual stories on there in shorter videos. All right, guys, if you've got any information about any stories that we showed tonight or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch at the normal fashion. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, on Threema, and you can get us on Threads. Please be sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.